What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel, and it is time to give you my way too early 2024 ACC football power rankings, as once again we are looking way ahead to the 2024 college football season. We're going to give you my ACC football power rankings, and like I said, this is way too early to be doing these types of videos, but we like to look at way ahead and everything just for fun to the 2024 college football season, and also kind of what to expect for next year as well. But now we're on the ACC. I've already done the Big 12, SEC, and Big 10. If you have not seen those way too early power rankings for all those three conferences, be sure to check them out right here on the channel. Now we're doing the ACC. Pretty much how these power rankings work. Like I said, we're basing this off from last year. It's way too early to be doing this. Like I said, we don't know what the rosters look like. We don't know what the teams look like as well and everything. So like I said, it's based off of that, and of course, there are going to be 17 teams now in the ACC next season, so this is another stat conference for 2024. So let's get right into it here with my ACC football power rankings for 2024. Way too early 2024 power rankings for the conference, and we'll start here from the bottom and work our way to the top. We'll start from number 17, and that number 17 team for me is Stanford. Stanford, I don't know what to expect from this team this year in 2024. This is a newcomer, obviously, heading to the ACC this year. Stanford, was a very young team last year. They obviously lost a lot of those players from 2022, and obviously, they had a new head coach last year. I think it's still kind of like a rebuild year for Stanford. I think it's going to really take them a long time to get really back to where they need to be as a program, and Stanford just hasn't been overall that good and very exciting as a program as well. I don't think the fan base is really exciting at Stanford either. So Stanford here at number 17 here. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the ACC, but as of right now, based off of where they were last year, they only won 3 games, exactly where I kind of predicted them to be from last year. But they're here at number 17 in these power rankings. Moving on to number 16 is Virginia. Virginia was not one of the worst teams last year in the ACC, but they were still really not really that good of a team. They were a terrible team last season. It's really no surprise because I did predict Virginia to be the worst team in the ACC last year, but this team did win a couple games in the ACC last year. Maybe Virginia can kind of improve in 2024, but I think this program and this team still has a long way to go. The roster is just not there for them. The talent is not there for them either. So Virginia here at number 16. Moving on to number 15, this is a big surprise here. It's Pittsburgh. Pitt used to be a really good powerhouse. It really wasn't like that for them last year. They had a really disappointing 3-9 season, and this was a really big step back. I was just really, kind of expecting them to take a little bit of a step back, not that big of a step back from last season. They did lose a lot of talent from like 2022's roster, and they also did lose some talent after 2021 when Kenny Pickett left, but I didn't really expect them to take a really big step back in 2023. Again, this is a team that only won 3 games last year. This was a team that was very, consistent as a program over the years, and it just hasn't been like that ever since. But they did win 9 games in 2022, but then they went from 9 games to like 3 games from last year. So Pittsburgh, I don't know what to expect from this team either. I think this team is going to have some talent, but I don't really think as of right now, it's really hard to tell what Pittsburgh's going to look like. So that's the reason why they're here at the bottom, is just based off of where they were last year. They're here at number 15. Moving on to number 14, it's Wake Forest. Wake Forest was a team that kind of took a little bit of a step back, exactly how I predicted them to be. Wake Forest obviously lost Sam Hartman in the transfer portal last year, and that really kind of hurt their chances. Obviously, the future, the quarterback situation is definitely tough for Wake Forest right now. I don't know what to expect from this team in 2024. I have a lot of question marks for this Wake Forest team, and I didn't really study Wake Forest that much last year. I also didn't watch Wake Forest a bunch last season in football in 2023. So Wake Forest, I don't know what to expect from this team either. Kind of like similar to Pittsburgh, they do have some talent on the roster to compete with some of these teams. But Wake Forest, ever since Sam Hartman left, it's just not been there for them. Last year was, like I just said, a big step back for them. Not like a big step back like Pittsburgh was, just a little bit of a step back. They were 5-7 last year, so maybe Wake Forest can probably get to a bowl game this year. So Wake Forest here at number 14. Number 13 is Syracuse. Syracuse, you look at this team, a lot of people were not really high on them last season. I don't think I'm really high on them this year, just based off of where they were last season as well. But Syracuse does have the transfer quarterback Kyle McCord coming over. I think that definitely helps them out just a little bit, even though Kyle McCord, started full-time and everything, wasn't really that big of a quarterback, but maybe he can develop something here at Syracuse. That's the biggest thing coming into 2024, is that they landed Ohio State transfer Kyle McCord and everything. So Syracuse here at number 13 in my way too early ACC football power rankings. Number 12 is California, another newcomer here in the ACC. Cal's coming off a pretty good season last year. They went to a bowl game in their last year, of course, in the Pac-12. They were very young in 2022. They were 4-8 that year. Then next year they returned all those players, even added some pieces in the transfer portal. And that really boosted Cal pretty well, in 2023. And they have a pretty good chance in 2024 to have a really solid, decent first season in the ACC. I don't really expect this team to be a dark horse contender in the ACC. I think this Cal team still has a long way to go before they rebuild their program. But if they can rebuild and have a really solid year in 2024, Cal might be a really good contender in the ACC in the future. So watch out for this California team in 2024. They're number 12 here on these power rankings. Moving on to number 11, it's Miami. So yes, Miami here at number 11. I know a lot of Miami fans are thinking, why is Miami really this low here in these power rankings? Well, it's because they, were inconsistent last year. They were inconsistent as a team, just overall not really that consistent of a team last season. Tyler Van Dyke obviously going to be gone. Enter the transfer portal. You transfer to Wisconsin. Miami, I don't really know what to expect from them this year. I think this team is going to have talent. We know how Mario Cristobal is and everything, with all the talent, and everything, and the recruiting as well. They even might pick up Talia Tagovailoa from Maryland in the transfer portal. We'll see what kind of decision he makes. I haven't really heard anything just yet, but, Miami is really going after a transfer quarterback, it seems like. But based off of where Miami was last year, I have to put them really close to the bottom here. And like I said, this was a very inconsistent team last year. Do you think Mario Cristobal will be on the hot seat this year? I don't really think so. I think he's, really heading in the right direction for Miami. But, his first, few years have just not gone his way. So Miami here at number 11 in these way too early power rankings. Moving on to number 10, Boston College. Boston College coming off a pretty decent season last year. Boston College, did have some talented players on their roster. But, again, this is another team I do have question marks for 2024. We don't really know if they're going to be really that decent. And like I said, I don't think Boston College is a dark horse contender. But like I said, based off of where they were last year, this team has to be, in my opinion, at number 10 on these power rankings. Not much to talk about Boston College, but this team did definitely, really got off to a slow start last year, but then they started to really turn things up, and they ended up having a decent year and going to a bowl game. So Boston College here at number 10. It seems like this program is also heading in the right direction, so watch out for the Boston College Eagles in 2024. Like I said, I don't think they're a top contender and dark horse contender in the ACC, but this has a chance to be a very competitive team / program in 2024. They're number 10 here on this list. Moving on to number 9, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech coming off a very disappointing season in 2022. They turned things around in 2023. They go 7-6 overall last year. Made it to a bowl game after, missing out on a bowl game in 2022. Virginia Tech's program now, it seems like it's back on the right track. Virginia Tech is a team that does have talented players on their roster. I don't really know what to expect from Virginia Tech, though, because this is a team that I don't really study that much, but I'm looking, forward to seeing what Virginia Tech can do in 2024. I think they'll be a very competitive team just based off of where they were last season. And like I said, this is a team that did definitely turn their season around after just winning like 3 games in 2022. So Virginia Tech here at number 9. Moving on to number 8, Georgia Tech. This is another program that's probably heading the right direction. Georgia Tech surprised a lot of people last year, making it to a bowl game, obviously. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. Georgia Tech was a team that was one of the worst teams in the ACC over the years. Now it seems like Georgia Tech is back on the right track. They did have a really good offense. They also had a pretty average type defense as well last season. And Georgia Tech was even competitive against their rivals in Georgia, in that last game of the regular season. They do play Georgia on the road this year, I believe, so that will be a tough one there. But it looks like this program is heading in the right direction. It looks like they can continue to, bring some guys maybe in the transfer portal or maybe like in the recruiting class. This Georgia Tech team before long could be a very dangerous team in the ACC. But like I said, I think Georgia Tech is really still ways off, and everything of, competing with the top teams in the ACC. But Georgia Tech, their program is heading in the right direction based off of what they did last season. So they're here at number 8 for me, a very big surprise from last year. Number 7 is Duke. It's kind of like a new era for Duke right here, not just for like a rebuild of the program. They are going to have a new head coach, obviously. They'll lose Riley Leonard in the transfer portal. And that just tells me that I'm not going to be very high on Duke in 2024. I still think this team will have talent, on both sides of the football, but they are going to lose some amount of a production on both sides of the football. Like I said, I don't know what the roster looks like for Duke just yet, but Duke had a pretty average type season last year. Riley Leonard got hurt in the middle of the season, and that kind of ruined their chances to probably win like 8 or 9 or 10 games from last season, and also potentially making the ACC championship last year. But going into this year, they'll obviously lose Riley Leonard at quarterback. That's definitely going to be a huge loss, and also their head coach from last year. He's now gone into the Texas A&M, so we'll see what the new era looks like for Duke. But again, it's not really like a rebuild of the program. It's just pretty much a new era with a new head coach. So Duke here at number 7. Moving on to number 6, North Carolina. North Carolina coming off a pretty up and down season last year. North Carolina is a team that I do expect to kind of still be a dark horse contender in the ACC. This team obviously going to lose Drake May at quarterback, which is definitely going to be a huge loss for this North Carolina team. I don't expect North Carolina to drop off that much, but based off of where they were last year, they have to be here at number 6. Again, they were a pretty average type team, but let's be honest, no team in the ACC was really that good last year, except for like maybe Louisville and Florida State, the 2 teams in the ACC championship. North Carolina, again, only an 8-win season last year. A lot of people were really high on this North Carolina team, especially when Drake May was coming back. We did see the inconsistency from Drake May, but he is now gone into the NFL draft, so that's going to be a huge loss for them. We'll see what the future looks like at quarterback for this North Carolina team, but they're here at number 6 here for me in my way too early power rankings. Moving on to number 5, Clemson. Clemson coming off a very disappointing season last year. This team won 9 games last year, going 9-4, the most losses under the Dabo Swinney era, I believe. And Clemson just hasn't been that same team ever since Trevor Lawrence left, and that national championship team that they had when Deshaun Watson was here at Clemson. Clemson just doesn't really recruit that well like they used to, and they also don't really use the transfer portal that much. Now going into this year, they will have Cade Klubnik back at quarterback. We'll see if he can improve on the quarterback throw, and also we'll see if this offense can improve. That's been the biggest struggle ever since Trevor Lawrence left this program. It's just basically been about the offense. It's just because they don't recruit players out of the transfer portal, and they also don't recruit out of the recruiting classes and everything. So yeah, Clemson has really struggled in this new era of college football. We'll see if they can turn things around and have a really good 10-win type season. They do have a tough schedule, though. They have to play Georgia in the opener this year. That will definitely be a tough one there in the opening season of college football for 2024. And that game pretty much decides a playoff spot as well. So Clemson here at number 5, a big step back for them last year, and this is why they're, at number 5 instead of in the top 3. So Clemson here at number 5. Moving on to number 4, NC State, coming off a pretty good season last year. They were a 9-win team, obviously. This is a team I think could be a dark horse contender in the ACC this year. I think they also could be a dark horse contender in the college football playoff. Of course, we got that 12-team playoff and everything. Any team can make it in, perhaps. I mean, NC State is a team to watch out for. I haven't really heard anything if Brendan Armstrong is returning or not. I haven't really seen anything from NC State's roster. But I think this team has enough talent to where they can compete with the high teams in the ACC. We did see that last year, of course, when Devin Leary was gone. But, they had a really good quarterback in Brendan Armstrong. But he did get hurt a little bit, so they had to go with a backup, I believe. They kind of benched him, I guess. I don't really remember. But I didn't watch a lot of NC State last year. The only time I really watched him was when their bowl game happened against Kansas State. But based off of where they were last year, I'm kind of expecting high expectations for the Wolfpack. They're here at number 4 for me on my way too early power rankings. Number 3 is SMU, another team that's really a newcomer in the ACC. A lot of people did not expect a group of 5 team to come to the ACC next year, but it's happening. SMU is a team that we're going to be keeping an eye on now. I kind of expect this team to be really good in their first year in the ACC. They'll have, some players coming back and everything. Like I said, this is a team that won the American Championship last year. Based off of where they were, they won 11 games last year. I think you have to really put them high on this list. I know they are a newcomer, but like I said, we could change things up. SMU could really drop from number 3 all the way back to outside the top 10 and everything. But based off of where they were last year, you have to really put them high on this list. SMU here at number 3, again heading into their first year in the conference and everything. And like I said, I think this team will have talent to where they can compete with, at least with all these ACC teams, because the ACC is really that weak of a conference and everything. So SMU here at number 3. Watch out for this SMU team in 2024. Number 2 is Louisville. So Louisville coming off a 10-win season last year in Jeff Brom's first year as a head coach. Louisville's got really high expectations going into next year. I think this team can perhaps make the college football playoff next season. You look at Jeff Brom, obviously did a really nice job in his first season as the head coach. This was definitely a very big surprise team last year. And it seems like Jeff Brom has got this Louisville football program back to where it needs to be. It was really falling apart for them, ever since when Scott Satterfield left and everything. But when Jeff Brom came around, I thought it would at least take a few years to rebuild this program, but he has done a really tremendous job for this, tremendous job for this Louisville team. And they also got some transfers, I believe, that are going to help them out in 2024. They also got some returning players coming back as well. So we'll see what the talent looks like for Louisville next season, but they're here at number 2 for me, and obviously they made it to the ACC championship last year, but they're here at number 2 for me in my way too early power rankings. But then moving on to number 1, this is the team that's as of right now the favorite based off of where they were last year. It's Florida State. Florida State will lose a lot of production and a lot of talent this year. They'll lose Jordan Travis, of course, at quarterback, but they got DJ Uiagalelei, the former Clemson quarterback and Oregon State quarterback, coming over from the transfer portal. So that's good news there. You get another really good veteran experience type quarterback. It's not like they're going to lose really big options at quarterback and everything, but this team will lose a lot of depth at wide receiver and also at the running back, and they also will lose production on the defensive side of the football. So you kind of expect a step back year for this Florida State team, but as of right now, you have to rank them here at number 1 just based off of where they were last year. And like I said, these power rankings are based off of where the teams were all season last year, and Florida State did go undefeated, 13-0 before suffering a really brutal loss in the Orange Bowl to Georgia. So Florida State, it looks like Mike Norvell has changed this program. It seems like it's heading in the right direction. I think they'll even be a playoff contender still with all the losses that they have. I mean, basically an ACC team is going to get in the playoff regardless. So Florida State here at number 1, like I said, they're going to lose a lot of talent on both sides of the football, especially at quarterback. But again, they have DJ Uiagalelei coming over to help them out. So Florida State here at number 1, and these are going to be my way too early ACC football power rankings, as again we are looking way ahead to the 2024 college football season. Tomorrow I'll give you my top contenders / dark horses, my way too early college football playoff, top contenders / dark horses for the 2024-25 college football season. And then next Monday, we're going to be starting our schedule preview and projected record series, whereas we're going to preview every single team's schedule preview and projected record, and giving you an early projected record for some of those teams as well. So those will be coming out next videos Monday through Friday. And again, we'll be having videos from Monday through Friday on this channel, so stay tuned for those videos. But these are my ACC football power rankings for the 2024 Way Too Early College Football 2024 season. Let me guys know what you think about these ACC football power rankings down in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports Channel.